Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today this video is just because of these comments. So if you are one who had these comments earlier, be sure to watch till the end. So this is my Swan7 S370 which I bought a year back, and this video is about the complete review which was pending for a long time. Before I start, here is a disclaimer. I bought this guitar, I paid for it, and I have no affiliation to the manufacturer or distributor or who is marketing this brand, and my review is unbiased. So I will be as brutal, and at the same time I will tell you why would somebody buy this guitar if you're one who is looking for something like this, right? So be sure to watch till the end. Let's start. So what do you get? It's a 24 fret shark fin inlaid guitar which comes with a humbucker, single coil humbucker. You get one volume potentiometer, one tone potentiometer, and a typical 5-way switch. So in this position, only the neck humbucker will be active. Next position, these two in parallel. Middle, only the single coil. The second last position, the middle as well as the bridge humbucker in parallel, and then the final position you get the bridge humbucker lock. That's the configuration of the 5-way switch. And what you get is a lightweight body. I have not seen such a lightweighted body ever. Again, my experience with guitars are not that much, but this is comparatively much heavier than the Squire I have. What you get is a maple neck with a scarf jointed headstock. So this is a two-piece neck. There is another piece which is glued, angled. You can make out when you watch it very closely. So here it is. And you get a vintage style floating tremolo bridge, and you can also see that you can adjust the. I have not made it to float, and I'll come to that why I didn't do that. The fretboard is mentioned as rosewood, but to me it never looks like rosewood. It is closer to the fretboard I have seen in my Juarez, maybe engineered wood, whatever, but not looking like rosewood. But certainly looks good for this price. You don't get a 24 fret sharp fin inlaid guitar, that too with a HSH configuration at this price. So those are certainly the positives. Coming to what I think are the biggest flaws of this guitar. We'll also talk about why I ended up painting this guitar, and of course this doesn't have Swan7 or anything written here, but this is the same guitar which you'd have seen in my videos earlier. So the model was Swan7 S370, and I removed that from the headstock, painted this body to this color, and the first flaw here, these pickups are not back spotted, or at least were not back spotted when I bought it. I don't know what you get, but I am assuming if it is coming from the same factory, same setup, I assume that it may not be back spotted. So what you will end up with heavy feedback when you play the guitar and against an amp. The amp interacts with the coils of the pickups, and then that will create a feedback. So that's the loud sound you will hear. That's a typical feedback. That's what I was encountering in this guitar. So the first modification or fix I had to do was take out these pickups and dip it in molten wax until the pickup is fully dipped in, wax gets into the coils and keeps it stable. So that was my first fix, and after that this is very much stable. So I measured this pickups as 10K DC resistance for the neck humbucker, 6K for the middle, and then 12K for the bridge humbucker, which is okayish, not too bad. But if you are somebody looking for high end, this is not a high end humbucker. And of course, you need a humbucker for heavier tones, metal, rock. If you haven't checked some of my videos, I have already used this guitar in some of the videos, and you can check it out so you can understand what this can make at least. Fix number 2, this neck is supposed to be, it is right now, should be parallel to the body. So there is body here and then there is neck. So the neck should be parallel to the body. So mine came with an angle like this, slight angle. I am exaggerating here, but you understand what I am talking about. If you get an angle this way, it's still okay. You get an angle like this, that's bad. So if it is that way, you get a high action here because the neck is this way. The strings have a higher the gap between the strings and the fretboard. That's what is called the action. That will be very high. So what are the initial videos what I created in that setup, you can probably make out this guitar had very high action. So for that fix, and that's not an easy fix, I had to reroute this neck pocket. So we just take out this neck, use a wooden router bit, or the router bit used for wood, I would say. Gently root the neck pocket so that the neck pocket is parallel to this body here. So that way, once you fit this neck back, it will be parallel to the body. So I had to do a bit of routing there, and that's how I fixed it. Third issue it had is intonation. I don't know whether you can see it again. So let's get it closer. So this saddle is maxed out. So probably, again I'm guessing this, these guitars are expected to have a 25.5-inch scale length, which is the distance from the nut to where the string meets the saddle. So that length should be 25.5. Of course, it varies between strings, but it will be higher for the low E string. And in order to get a good intonation, I had pulled the saddle far to the end, and I still probably feel that it is a bit sharp, but one, of course, it never came with a proper setup. I had to do that, and the intonation, the saddle was pushed further to the end. That's another issue. Probably they drilled these holes maybe 2-3 mm inside. So that's probably the issue I'm thinking about. These tuners were a joke, certainly. So one, I was turning the tuner and I could never feel any change to the string tension. Probably the tuners were slipping, and I upgraded these tuners. So these are the Java made in Korea tuners. Looks exactly the same, but it's far better. Those tuners are lying somewhere here, and I feel those are crap. So that's other modification I had to do to get this in a playable or stable setup. Talking about the neck itself. So one, if you have noticed my unboxing, there was a cut, and there is still a cut, which is hardly visible right now. So there was a cut. Now let's see what is it right now. So I don't know if you can still see that cut. So I did some fixes to that, bit of sanding, bit of hot towel trick, that's what it is called, to raise the wood grain so that the cuts or damages can be minimized. So I did that and got into this shape, but it looked like a somewhat deeper cut when I unboxed it. Of course, I didn't want to return it just for that blemish, but yeah, if um, another person might think that okay, this is a bad guitar, I should return. So that also talks about the quality control. One, that cut, and of course the body was not finished like a real glossy looking what you expect from a store guitar. So the comparison here is Ibanez GRG 170DX, and this guitar is an exact copy of that. I'll leave the links of the Ibanez GRG 170DX in the description below. You can take a look, and this guitar is almost an exact look-alike. And of course, this is half the price of that. So you would expect the finish to be very good, paint is very uniform and things like that, but that wasn't the case with this. Even it is not now, but I can at least say that this is the result of my own painting, not a guitar I bought this way, right? So I can still make it better, do a bit more polishing and things like that. I may paint it black again, so at that point I might get this to the same shape again. But the painting quality was very bad, and probably it had minor scratches, which I wouldn't like in a guitar which is bought new. It had plastic nut, and I changed this to bone nut. That has become a routine with me right now. Yeah, so that's what you can expect from a guitar like this. And this was Swan7 S370. That's just a name, but I believe these guitars are all made in some factories somewhere, most likely in China. And say if you want to import some guitars of this nature, you can contact those manufacturers. They can put your name onto the headstock and give you. That's what is going on here. So instead of Swan7, you can call your name, and that will be your guitar. Just that you can't buy one guitar with your name on it. It is going to cost, and of course you can send them a logo. They will put your logo on the headstock, and that will be your brand. That's how these guitars are. And this was Swan7 S370, and if you check the Volt model from Bajau, that's also exactly look alike. Maybe some minor differences, I would say, but that has Volt in it, the name. More or less, these are all coming from the same factory. Probably the same factory which is also manufacturing for Ibanez, you never know. The difference would be the quality control, the quality of the parts used. Of course, I talked about the humbucker being having very high feedback. They may have a better components, and of course, quality control on the finish. So the trade-off is you get this for half the price of the Ibanez GRG 170DX, and if you're okay to live with those differences, this guitar is for you. I prefer this body to be slightly heavier, even though the body was resonant, if you can hear it. So that's one of the tests for the body. So without connected, just play it. So that's one of the tests you can use to determine if the guitar body is resonant. So I have bought two cheap guitars so far, including this one, and somehow the two guitar bodies were very resonant, which is surprising. I have my plywood guitar hanging somewhere, I think here, if you can see that. So that is going to be a real test how that is going to sound. And I hope I covered everything what I wanted to cover as part of this review. If you have more questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Go check the links in the description, links to this product itself, if you want to know more about it. And thanks for watching.